Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another no, it's not. Well, it is. It's sort of Richard Vobe's Bald Explorer, whatever you want to call it. Reading from the Listen. It's Listen with Vobes, and I'm still not 100% used to it. It seems very dark in here. It must be this jumper again. Can you let me know if we're buffering today? I've had a few internet issues just before we came out, so just let me know if it's buffering, because I'm getting a message on the screen. I don't know if anybody out there knows how to operate OBS, but you can see here I've got this message. It used to come up, but it used to clear away, but now it's stuck on this, so it may be that it's buffering. And you can go in. I'll just show you this in case somebody knows how to do it. And you can change the settings here, and it said to change it down here. And I've changed it to what it says, but it still seems to be doing its issues. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you in case somebody has any idea. No buffering. Okay at the mo. Okay, cool. All right. Well, we'll just have our fingers crossed, but I'll try and find it all if there's any issues. Maybe if I just refresh. I don't want to refresh the actual screen, but anyway, somebody just asked, did you manage to get out? Yes, I did manage to get out, actually, and made two remarkable things happened today for tomorrow's video. One was I went to Cortland's. It's empty at the moment, and I met a woman coming out of it, and I just said, can I take a photograph of it from on the driveway? And she said, oh, are you the person that rang me up about a year ago to have a look at it? And I just said, well, it might have been me. She said, yeah, no, go and film what you want. So I walked around the gardens and filmed quite a bit. The second one was I went to a barn called Jupp's Barn, and I was filming there, and a couple of ladies saw me filming, and they said, can I ask what you're doing? And I said what I was doing. And they said, oh, do you want to film inside? So they opened up the barn, and I filmed inside as well. So tomorrow's video has some exclusive stuff that most people wouldn't ordinarily get. So although I was very anxious this morning about it and the weather was a bit crap, I managed to dive round the raindrops and get out and do some filming. So that was all good. What are we doing over here? Looks fine in Goring. Oh, that's great. TurboStream Sam's down. Another loss on the jumper bingo. I did mention it might be this one. The filming from the van looked great, said Edward Moulding. I thought it was a bit of a lame video, but people have been very kind, so that's very nice. Anyway, so we're reading on Southern English Roads. Welcome along. Thank you very much for coming in. Quick hello to a few people, which is our tradition. Just to quickly say, oh, golly, there's quite a lot of you, actually. I don't want to spend forever saying hello, so perhaps I'll just, you know who you are, so it's probably easiest that way, because otherwise we'll run out of reading time. But thank you very much for coming along, and it's lovely to see you. Linda Kane says, I used to go to staff meetings at Cortland's. It's looking very tired at the moment. The paint's coming off, and there's some, I think Nigel Sandler sent me some pictures of it, obviously a few years ago when it was all very smart, but it's looking a little bit tired, and it's just been bought by somebody. So hopefully it'll all be done up. Anyway, fantastic about the barn. Great stuff. Yeah, sorry, Lee, I didn't use the internal pictures you sent because I managed to go in there to an empty barn, and it all looks very nice. So that's all good. And then tomorrow I'll go off to Richard Jeffrey's house. I wonder if somebody will open that up and say, here, do you want to come in and see his writing desk? Right, we left our James John Hissey having a fit, yeah, a hissy fit. I wonder if he did have fits, and that's where it comes from. Probably not. Anyway, they are on their way to Crowhurst, I believe. Our road to Crowhurst began well, passing by an old wooden mill on a height, deserted and left to picturesque decay, with its great outstretched arms standing forth and grim and gaunt against the sunny sky. Our way suddenly dipped down and led us through thick woods into a lovely, lonely country of undulating meadowlands, dotted with spreading oaks and shady elms, and bounded by a distance of fir-crowned hills. At one point, graceful silver birches bordered our pleasant rural road, and we had all to ourselves, for we met not a soul till we reached the pretty and interesting village of Lingfield, which possesses, besides some quaint old half-timber buildings, a remarkably fine church, worthy of a city. I'm just going to shut this door a little bit because my son is listening to something on YouTube, some raucous laughter and some terrible video thing, and I can hear it. It's putting me off. No, it doesn't shut any further. I'll have to bellow too. They're moving out soon, so I'll have the place to myself. And that's when the illicit parties will start. You'll read about them in all the local papers, if not the Nationals. Vobe's illicit parties of how he and Eric used to jive the night away. Anyway, enough of that gay banter. Don't take that literally, thank you. Here by the side of the village pond, overshadowed by an ancient oak, stands a curious structure, looking somewhat like a Lilliputian church, duly provided with a tower to match in its size. We pulled up and got out of the dog cart, the better to inspect this strange bit of building and to endeavour to gather what its purpose might be. We observed upon a closer view 2 short and separate inscriptions painted on wood and placed against the wall of the miniature tower. These read as follows: Ye Village Cage and St. Peter's Cross. I don't remember that when we went to Crowhurst. Julia, do you remember that? Maybe, was this in the... Where is this? I thought this was by the church. He just said it was by the church. The inscription only served to increase our curiosity, and so we sought further and more explicit information from an intelligent-looking native who just happened to be passing. In reply to our query, we asked if he knew what the building was. He replied, "Oh, that's the old village cage. There used to be a prison in my grandfather's time, so I've heard him tell. There used to be then, too, a whipping post and some stocks outside on the green, and they put the prisoners in the cage at nights and placed them in the stocks in the days." But what does St. Peter's Cross mean on the notice? We further inquired. "Well, I've heard it say how a market cross used to stand on the spot before the cage was built, but old Cromwell had her pulled down." What a lot of sins of commission that famous Englishman has to answer for, to be sure. There is hardly a castle in the country, but according to local traditions, that has been knocked about by his cannonballs. "Are you quite certain it was Cromwell who pushed the cross down?" we asked. "Well, they do say how he did it. If not, somebody else did." This was indisputable, but hardly to the point. "Do you happen to know who Cromwell was?" We could not resist the question. "Why, to be sure, he was the King of England." "Why, I learnt that at school." Well, there's nothing like educating the people. The farmer's daughter can play the piano nowadays, but she cannot make butter. I was much amused by the remark of the old farm labourer, who made to me the other day, as showing his opinion of the drift of up-to-date education. "Lor bless you, sir," he said to me, "my son, he's had a schooling as I never had. He thinks himself mighty clever, he does. He quite looks down on his poor father, he do, but I tell 'ee what it is," with the emphasis on... what? "But I tell 'ee what it is," this with emphasis, "with all his learning, he can't thatch a rick, but I can." That remark gave us good food for thought. Surely, to be able to thatch a rick and plough a furrow is a legitimate part of an agricultural labourer's education. What profits if the captain of a ship can read Latin, but knows nothing of navigation? Will Latin bring his ship to port? A lot of typing going on out there. Great barn, Jupp's barn, yet Cortland's has had a lot of previous owners, says Linda Kane. Oh, you're on all that. Juliet suggested Richard that he knock on the door and ask the lady, Colin Cowdrey, God help him. Oh, right. Dudley Sawyer, hi everyone. Lee, new phone working okay. Oh, let's all ring up Dudley. Give us your number, Dudley. We'll all ring you up in rapid succession. You could have a big cheque in your hands, Julia. I don't know what they're on about. Nothing to do with what I'm reading. I feel a little bit discombobulated out here, all on my Todd. The most interesting of the old houses in they're in Lingfield. Oh, they're in Lingfield, not in Crowborough. I don't know what I'm talking about. Have they not seen they've not gone to the tree, have they? Oh, yes, that's right. They're in Lingfield. I beg your pardon. I kept thinking this. I don't remember any of this when we went to Crowhurst, but they're in Lingfield. Sorry about that, but you wouldn't know because you're too busy gabbling about blooming Cortlands and stuff. The most interesting of the old houses in Lingfield is one that now does duty as a butcher's shop, and I think that it is really the only picturesque butcher's shop I know. This ancient structure is of half timber with a high-pitched roof having an overhanging upper story, such a pleasing feature in buildings of that kind and period, combining utility with beauty too, by affording considerable extra space above where most needed. The corner bracket supports of this shop are finely moulded and carved, and if, as I imagine from certain appearances, though of course I may be wrong in my conjectures, this structure was originally intended for a shop, then such a well-preserved example of a medieval shop is no small antiquarian interest. Let's have a look, see if we can find the butcher's shop in Lingfield, not Crowhurst, as I had imagined. Let's see if I can find a page with which to work on. Are you still gabbling about? Come on, everybody. Eyes forward and listen. Yes, eyes forward. Concentrate now. Lingfield. Lingfield Park. Here we go. There's Lingfield. Let's share that so that you have a good old gander. The Star Inn. Just trying to work out where Lingfield... Oh, there's Crowhurst. So where did he go then? He was at... Oh, East Grinstead. He's gone up towards Crowhurst. Yes. And he's gone into Lingfield. Where's the church? Where is the church? Church. Oh, yeah. Star Inn. Lingfield. I wonder where the butcher's shop is then. Anybody know? He's having a guess here. I'm having a guess. Conservative Shell, St. Bernard. There's the main church. It's got to be around here, surely. Is that the butcher's shop? That can't be the butcher's shop. No, because he said it was medieval. That's hardly medieval, but I'm just curious what it says up there. Crowhurst Place in memorandum, Llewellyn Palmer. Whoever he was. Oh, wait a minute. Timber frame bit. Here we go. This has got to be it. Look at that. Lingfield. Julia, we've got to go to Lingfield. How do I get in there? Take me in there, you swine. I've got to go round the houses to get in there. Probably got to go round the church. Up this lane. Lingfield looks lovely, doesn't it? I've never been to Lingfield. Going there now. You see, in the winter, I don't actually need to get out into the cold. I just sit here and get lost. Hang on a minute. That's no good, is it? Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. There's the church. Presumably... Oh, you can't get... Why do they do that? Bloody... You know, they give you the promises of everything. But I'm assuming that that's the butcher's shop. Isn't that remarkable? Look at that, and all of that. Amazing. These vans and things, though, there should be, like, no parking around ancient buildings. How else are you supposed to make videos of them and look authentic? Anyway, very interesting. No, Michael, nothing to do with the cricketer. Oh, right, this is more like it, where the co-op is now in the village centre. The church at Crowhurst was originally supposed to be an abbey. Is that right? Which Crowhurst are you talking about? Because there's there was a. Are you talking about the one in? This is the one in Surrey. The one in Surrey. That's in Surrey. Well, it is now, and the other one's in Sussex. Is the one near on the way to Hastings, isn't it? Crowhurst is just north of Lingfield. Thank you. The Lady Colin Campbell, actually, is Lady Cowdray, the cricketer's widow. What the hell are they on about? They're in another. Are you watching a different Richard Vobes? Listen to Vobes Channel 2. I don't know whether my my twin brother is also doing a. Is he doing any? Eric, you're not masquerading as me, are you? Sorry, people coming to this channel thinking they're going to get some decent reading have suddenly discovered that it's an absolute sham. Right. Anyway, it looked very nice. We found our way to the church only to discover the door was religiously locked. So we asked a passing workman if he could tell us where the clerk lived. Yes, responded he, I can, but I be a-going past his house, and I'll send he to you. If he likes, it'll save you the walk. We thanked the man for his thoughtfulness and gladly accepted his kind offer. We were about to offer him the price of a glass of ale for his trouble, but before we could do so he exclaimed, It's awful hot weather, and I'll be awful dry, that I be. What a number of dry people one does encounter on a driving tour, to be sure. Having given the man the wherewithal to quench his thirst, we sat on a tombstone in the shade and waited for the coming of the clerk. In due course, that individual made his appearance, armed with a ponderous key, and we entered the old church. Oh, don't you just love that language? Where do you get that language these days? You don't get that kind of language, do you? Having given him the wherewithal. I love that. The wherewithal to quench his thirst. We sat on a tombstone in the shade and waited for the coming of the clerk. In due course, that individual made his appearance, armed with a ponderous key, and we entered the old church. It's lovely, isn't it? Beautifully beautiful. I have said the clerk came, though to this day I have my doubts whether he were the clerk or not, for his cultivated speech, refined accent, archaeological knowledge, and quiet, courteous manner made us suspect that we had not the genuine article before us. Indeed, had he proclaimed himself an archdeacon, we should not have been much, if at all, surprised. It struck us that possibly he was one of the church wardens whom the labourer had called on by mistake, and knowing, and who, nothing loth, entered into the spirit of the thing. However that may be, we felt very awkward when the time came for tipping by our conductor of this gentlemanly instinct, but our conductor of the... Is that better? It's easier to understand, I think. However that may be, we felt very awkward when the time for tipping arrived, but our conductor by his gentlemanly instinct came to our rescue, suggesting that any trifle we might feel inclined to give for seeing the church should be placed in the box for the building fund, as that was sadly in need of money. Now, I have never before in all my experience known a real clerk suggest anything of the kind. They have always accepted the money without a hint of benefit for the church fund or even for the good of the poor. No, I'm convinced that our conductor was not the clerk. As far as I can remember, this is the sole instance that a trip of ours has not been personally accepted, though I would have confessed... no tip of ours, rather, has been personally accepted, though I have to confess that an American friend of mine owned to a similar experience, which so impressed him by its rarity that he couldn't help mentioning the strange fact to me, only in his case it was a railway porter who declined the tip Well, all I can remark is that wonders will never cease as long as the world revolves. The first thing that attracted our attention in the church was the fine altar tomb of the First Lord and Lady Cobham, the former who died in 1361. The monument is of considerable interest on account of certain peculiar departures from the usual monumental features of the period. The effigy of my lord is shown carved in alabaster, coloured and gilt in full plate armour, the details of which are worthy of note as showing the method of wearing the armour. The head rests on the tilting helmet, which has on the top a diminutive figure of a turbaned Turk for a crest, and a garter is shown on the leg. Besides the most uncommon crest, a unique feature here is the fact that the two kneeling female supporters are not winged as usual, and there are no signs that there have ever been wings. If these figures, as is the case in similar recumbent effigies on altar tombs, are intended for angels, then the artist carver must have considered such ethereal creatures to have no need for wings, therefore differing wholly from the universally accepted traditions of the medieval sculpture, who always represented them so provided. Another quaint feature about this effigy is that the feet rests on another figure of a turbaned Turk that takes the place of the usual faithful dog or fierce lion. Our conductor said that there was a tradition that one of the family had served with the Crusaders, hence the Turk, at Lord Cobham's feet. Adjoining this stately monument is a stone slab on the floor, dated 1662, to a certain William Widnevels, inscribed with a long Latin epitaph, which we didn't take the trouble to puzzle out. After this there comes the following rare panegyric in plain English, so that all may read and understand. Let's hope we do. Desist those profane feet forbear, to foul this hallowed marble, where lies virtue's goodness, honour's hair. 'Cause the world was not worthy him to have, the great Jehovah shut him in this grave. Have and grave, I suppose. If grave is grave, have. Cause the world was not worthy to have, the great Jehovah shut him in the grave. We were careful not to foul the hallowed marble, but we inwardly thought that it would be hard to cap this vainglorious eulogy. There is but a step from the sublime to the contemptible. There is but a step. I don't know why that's in speech marks. There is but a step from the sublime to the contemptible. True worth is ever modest. Such sycophantical, such sycophantical inscriptions have oftentimes the effect of making the reader thereof cynical. The inevitable question arises, how far the underlying dead are responsible for such fulsomeness? Could we place implicit faith in epitaphs? What paragons of perfection our ancestors must have been, and how commonplace history must have lied. What is he talking about? After all, times and manners may change, but the natural man remains now much the same as ever. That's probably true. In one of the pews, we discovered a chained Bible dated 1682 with the following inscription on the flyleaf. This Bible was bought May the 10th, AD 1682 by William Saxby of the parish of Lingfield in the county of Surrey, Esquire, for the use and benefit of all good Christians. To remain and continue in the pew he now sitteth in the church of the parish aforesaid. It is possible that such minor gifts as this to the church caused the following satire to be written by Bishop Hall. Whoever gives the Parish a velvet whoever gives a... Oh, pear, beg your pardon. It's just when they put an E on the end, I never quite know how to pronounce it, but it's a quiet E, isn't it? Whoever gives a pair of velvet shoes to the holy rood or libri allows, but a new rope to ring in the coverfoo bell, but he desires that his great deed may dwell on graven in the chancel window, or graven in the chancel window glass, or in his lasting tomb of plated brass. Yep, sorry about that. Told you, not good at verse. Not good at everything, really. On a reading desk not far away was another chained Bible, black-lettered, dated 1603, one of the editions published by Miles Coverdale. This, besides being chained to the desk, was further protected by a cage of brass network set over it, so that the modern pilgrim could not even read more than the pages that chanced to lie open before him. This network, we were informed, was absolutely needed to protect the book from the modern vandal, who comes not to read or worship, but to collect. Such a pertinent comment upon changed times needs no emphasis of mine. The Bible of old was chained for fear religiously minded folk should steal it wholly. A strange thing to do, a strange thing for such people to do, it always seems to me. Now it has to be guarded from the irreligious thief, a distinction with a difference. Well, it's interesting that it's even in there. I bet these things are no longer in there, or have gone long ago. Jumper bingo every Friday now for... Well, I don't know, it's outrageous. What are you on about? Yes. Then our conductor led us to the vestry. Do they keep vests in the vestry? I wonder if they do. String vests, that's what I would like to think, where he showed us the registry commencing in 1559, and from that time down to about 1600 we noted that the entries were most carefully made, and then they became inexcusably and markedly careless, and from 1653 to 1666 there is a notable void. After 1663, the entries become carefully written in detail again and continue so to the present day. We were also shown the chalice that, we were informed, was exactly 322 years old when we saw it. And then we took our departure. I guess they didn't take it with them. On to Crowhurst. The country was On to Crowhurst, the country was pretty, though without any special features. Immediately opposite the churchyard gate, there, our eyes rested upon a charming old home having a jumble of red gables, big chimneys, high-pitched, moss-covered roof, with mullioned windows of leaden lattice lights, whose numberless diamond panes sparkled cheerfully in the sun. I can't remember what else was around Crowhurst when we turned up. In the garden between the highway and the house were big box hedges, quaintly clipped yew trees that gave the place quite the old world look. It was a picture worth a long drive to see. This old house, as we afterwards found out, was merely a portion of a former mansion, a relic of one of those ancient and pleasant English homes of good, though not wealthy, families that one may come upon now and again, standing in a friendly fashion by the roadside and not isolated in a park out of sight. Before entering the churchyard, we hunted up the clerk and found him clad in a smock frock, the only one we saw during our journey, and strangely looking a bit out of place. And he wore, besides, thick hobnail boots. He appeared to combine the offices of clerk, gravedigger, and farm labourer. Lee Lawson says there used to be a Breeches Bible in West Chiltington Church in a case with a lid. I wonder if that's still there. Leaden lattice lights. Ancient tongue twister. Yeah, it's telling me. Nigel says, is it Crowhurst Place? Did we say Crowhurst Place? I can't remember now. Did we say that? In the porch of the church, we observed a written list of objects of interest within the sacred edifice and round about in the locality. This was something of a novelty to us, and was all the more surprising, as one would imagine, but few strangers or tourists would find their way to this remote hamlet. The following is a copy of the paper. Objects of interest in the parish of Crowhurst. The church is dedicated to St. George and is mentioned in the Valour of Edward I, 1304. In the middle aisle is buried Richard Cholmondeley, cup-bearer to King James and Charles I. The yew tree is supposed to be the oldest yew tree in England. It is mentioned by Aubrey, a historian in the reign of Charles I, I've got a book on him, as measuring in his time 10 yards round, 3 feet from the ground. Its present girth is about 33 feet. Humboldt, in the Aspects of Nature, mentions this tree and states its age, on the authority of Deacon Dell, to be about 1450 years. The Crowhurst yew was hollowed out about 1820. In 1845 the upper branches were blown off by a great storm. A cannonball was found in the centre of the tree when hollowed out in 1820. The house opposite the church is called the Mansion. Crowhurst Place, an ancient moated house, was formerly inhabited by the family of Gainsford. Henry VIII is said to have slept a night there on his way to visit Anne Boleyn at Hever Castle, about 6 miles distant. Below the church is a spring mentioned by Aubrey, to which he attaches the tradition that it only rises at the approach of any great event in church or state. Nigel Sadler says Crowhurst Place is a moated manor house, but tucked away from the road, so not where he's talking about. Ah, there you go. We may well yet see that in this book. Who knows how we are doing? Do you know we are nearly, I guess we must be a quarter of the way through. The interior of the church did not interest us much, except for the tombs of the Gainsfords and the Gainersfords, Gainersfords, as spelt on their brasses. Then we went with the clerk to see the great and famous yew. A door opens from a massive trunk of this and gives access to the interior, which has been so ruthlessly hollowed out. Stepping inside, we discovered low wooden seats fixed within the badly treated tree, and the clerk told us there used to be a table in the centre also, and that upon one occasion 15 people sat round it and dined there. Once they had a band to play in it, all of which seemed rather out of keeping with the sacred surroundings. Feasting in a churchyard is surely a very incongruous proceeding, nor does band playing therein seem much better. We see, well, this is all a bit weird because it probably was 120 years ago as it would be today. But if you think of the church ales back in the day, raucous stuff would go on, especially on the north side of a church, if I've got that right. Parties, festivals, fetes, all sorts of lurid behaviour, shall we say. We were shown the cannonball, but we were unable to learn any reasonable explanation as how it originally got where it was found. We suggested the inevitable Cromwell, but the clerk made no reference or response to our remark. Perhaps he'd never heard of Cromwell. You can hardly expect a church clerk in a smock frock to be versed in history. Why not? You would think that's what they would be versed in. Taking note of the particulars about Crowhurst Place, given in the notice on the church porch, we inquired our way thither, and forthwith went in search thereof. Yes, how many old-fashioned words can you get into a sentence? Thither, forthwith, and thereof. Marvellous. Well done, old Hissey. It would never do to miss an old moated manor made historic by a visit from Bluff King Hal. We found the house to be about a mile away. Not far from the main road, perhaps a couple of 100 yards, but completely hidden therefrom by a thick clump of trees. We have a picture illustration coming up, Linda Kane. Yes, I've spotted it. I have spotted it. We will demonstrate to everybody the drawing that old Hissey Fit managed to do. And here it is. Look at that. Lovely old place. Of course, I want to find out now if I can find Crowhurst Place to compare and contrast. Compare and contrast, Mr. Vobes. What do we call it? Crowhurst Place. Crowhurst Place. Let's see if it's the same old thing that we saw. 15th century, it says. Oh, there's a nice drawing. Hang on. Let's get you up there. There's a nice drawing. Lingfield, Crowhurst Place. Yeah, it's not a very big picture, is it, you swine? You can buy that from Amazon if you want. Oh, I seem to have fallen out of... here is a better picture. House for sale. Oh, yeah, don't tell me. £1 billion. Please find out how we're adapting to COVID. I'd rather not. Wow, look at that. Let's see if we can get a bigger picture. Look at that. Oh, look at that lovely bay window. Bow-fronted window. That's on, looks like 2 stories. And there's the moat. Wow, look at that. Isn't that amazing? And look at that little sort of dovecot thing. Good God. That is very beautiful. That is, you cannot get it on Street View, or you cannot get it on Street View on overhead. That is very nice. I wonder how much that is. It probably nearly 100,000 Scobby. Maybe I could buy it. Here's an older picture. Country Life magazine. That's really titchy. That's no good. We don't want that. Here's a picture of the inside. No, look at that. It's very nice. And all those diamonds on the ceiling. Isn't that a Beatles song? Diamonds on the ceiling, wow. Is that how it goes? No, probably not. Crowhurst Place, North-South Lodge. Oh, that's just the lodge. Oh, here's that little pepper pot thing, the dovecot. Come on, why are we waiting? View image. It's actually a snug and cosy rocket, to be honest with you. I think that's what it's modelled on. Different aspects of it. Here's a bridge over the River Kwai. Yeah, go away. I don't want to sign into anything. I just want to view the image. Why do they do that? You're signed out. Yes, I'm not signed in, mate. Anyway, we get the measure of it. It's a rather plush-looking place. Where's that very nice picture that we saw? We might need to reference back to it. Is that a better one? Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that delightful? And there's the thingy. Whew. It's not quite as impressive as the Vobes Manor, but it's nearly there. Very close. Diamonds in the Sky. Oh, there we are. Or Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, the Beatles. I was thinking that's it. Diamonds on the Ceiling at Crowhurst Place. It's a new song available from K-Tel. Remember K-Tel? Cloud-trimmed tree, beautiful. Oh, yes, I see what you mean. You're talking about this. Who said that? Cloud. Who's the clever clogs who said that? 10 bedrooms for 6 million. Blimey. How much is it? Says, I don't know. Anybody? Oh, Linda Kane. There we go. Hang on. Cloud trimmed. Let's go back and have a look. That. Talking about that, I assume. Oh, hang on. That there. It is very lovely. I would very much like to live in an old place like that. Very much. I mean, I wouldn't bother to go out and make videos or anything like that. I'd just be walking around the grounds thinking how lucky I am. I'll have to keep thinking then, I guess. Keep on hoping that before I die I can have a nice old rambling mansion for 6 million. I think I could make 6 million from reading old books on YouTube. No, all right, fair enough. The finding of Crowhurst Place was one of the many delightful surprises of our journey. This was indeed a red letter day for us in the way of discoveries of interesting and picturesque, there's that word again, relics of past days. I shall not readily forget the feeling of supreme delight I experienced upon the first vision of that ancient mansion with its wide weed-grown moat, great half-timber gables, grey and brown and bent with age, mighty chimney stacks, and humble old wooden bridge that crossed the water, old, but of much later date than the main fabric. This view of Crowhurst is produced from my sketch herewith, and will give some idea of the charming old home, once a portion of the stately abode of the Gainsfords, for alas, a good deal of the original structure has disappeared. The rest now does duty as a farmstead. Fortunate farmer to have such a dwelling. Not a farmstead anymore, I can probably assure you. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Horsham stone roof. Oh, yes, definitely. Horsham stone roof. Yes. And look at all those unnecessary uprights. Absolutely, just showing off the wealth. All those extra infill, struts. Absolutely stunning. It is a beautiful place. And the thing is, it makes you wonder, there it is, looking lovely. And then you look on a map, look on old Ordnance Survey maps, and you see many of these moats where once, lovely old buildings like that probably were, that have tumbled down, seen better days, fallen down, been robbed of its stone and the timber, gone. And in its place a bunch of new builds. Crowhurst is spot. Sorry, it's not spot at all. Crowhurst is a spot, both inside and out, to delight the heart of an antiquary, as well as to the eye of an artist. A glamour of so long ago seems to hang over its time-stained walls. A past presence seems to linger within its ancient panelled chambers. We made bold to cross the footbridge, and knocking at the old oak door, begged permission to sketch and photograph the place. This we did with the ulterior purpose of feeling our way as to the possibility of obtaining a glance at the interior. Actually, that's quite interesting, because in a way that's what I did today at Cortlands. I just asked, can I photograph it? And then, of course, I was photographing and somebody came out and I said, any chance I could film inside? And they said yes. I said, any chance you could cook me a meal? And they said yes. I said, any chance I could stay in the master bedroom tonight? They said yes. I said, is there any chance you could send a few French maids up to attend to all my needs? They said yes. And then I woke up and I was still standing at the entrance. And it's a shame. Anyway. We made bold to cross our rather. It happened, yes, so it glanced at it. It happened that the door opened directly into the kitchen. There was a brick-built bridge crossing the moat on the further side of the house, which gave approach to the front door. But at the time we had not discovered this. The maid, who answered our summons in reply to our inquiry, said she would ask the missus, and presently returned with the polite permission for us to sketch or photograph the house from whatever we liked, which was returned with many thanks. So I wonder if you went up there today and knocked on their door. I mean, probably wouldn't be able to get in, probably all gated up with electronic gates and everything. You wouldn't get anywhere near the place. But if you could, get up. Excuse me, any chance I could take a photograph of your house? Get out of here, mate. Of course you can't photograph there. Who do you think you are? Get out, get off. Get off our land. They'd think you were burglars sizing up the place. Although, of course, pictures like that are available. So feeling at our liberty to wander where we would round about the exterior of the building, we set work with sketchbook and camera and made good use of our time. Presently, the genial farmer himself appeared on the scene, manifestly taking an interest in our proceedings. There is, fortunately, something very attractive to the average man about a sketcher at work in the open. I say fortunately, for in some cases, like the present, we have found that if we sit down near a picturesque old home to make a sketch thereof, it generally leads to the owner or one of his family coming to interview us out of curiosity. This further leads to a few civil remarks and frequently to a kind invitation to inspect the interior, not unfrequently to that interesting conversation with refreshment thrown in. But of course, much depends upon the circumstances and the sketcher. A pleasant manner opens doors and obtains countless little favours money could never buy. As Seneca says, he that would make his travels beautiful must first make himself delightful. I think that's so true. I think manners maketh man, but manners also opens doors, and if you're polite, as I always am, polite, like today at the barn, at Jupp's barn, and the lady came over and just said, "Can I help you?" And I thought, shall I be ridiculous? What's the word? Shall I be not obtuse, but shall I be discourteous? Yes, but shall I be I can't think of the word, but whatever the word is, shall I be, pain and say, no, I'm quite able to help myself, thank you very much. That would have been it. It was like, well, sod you then. But because I was very, pleasant, I said, oh, that's very kind of you. I'm taking some photographs. I said, did you know Lee Lawson, international famous researcher, historical researcher? I said. She said, no. I said, oh, well, her great-great-grandfather was born behind the church. Really? She said. She was very interested, even though she had no idea who Lee Lawson was, or indeed who George Gates was. But I spouted all this stuff, and because I was wearing tweed, she said, "Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting." And I said, "Oh, behind there." And I said, "Yes, we've got a picture of him on my phone." I showed the picture of him to the lady. She said, "Oh, look at him, very charming-looking man." I said, "Yes, well, he was born here, and da-di-da, and diddly-do, and diddly-dum." I don't want to give it all away. You scared swines, you're getting it all out of me before. You have to wait for the video tomorrow. For goodness sake, otherwise there'll be nothing for you. Don't know how you manage it. Anyway. Being polite is very good. How are we doing on the time? It must be nearly time to go, surely. We're miles from the end of this one. Miles. Oh no, not too far. But how many pages? I like that, rifling through the old books, these paper pages. Charming in tweed, says Dudley Sawyer. Thank you, very charming in my tweed. Actually, I need to... Does anyone know... here's a question for you. I was thinking, I don't want to take my tweed jacket to a dry cleaner. What did they used to do? Can I stick... It's wool. Can I not stick it on a wool wash in the washing machine? Would that be awful? Would that be a terrible thing to do? I don't want to go down the dry cleaner and spend 15 quid or whatever it is, 20 quid to have it steam cleaned or whatever they do. I'd rather just shove it in the washing machine, hang it up, because they must have done things. Like they didn't have a dry cleaners in the old days, and they got away with it. A git, says David. Yes. Audrey says obsequious or something. I can't pronounce that. I know what you mean, but I can't pronounce it. Sarcastic. Yes, sarcastic. Sarcasm is what I was going at. No, says David Orr. Febreze says, what? No, I want it to tighten up, you see. I've had it for donkey's years now, and it's sort of all a bit loose, but I'd like to... it would not be so waterproof if washed. Oh, at least it would come back from the cleaners the same size it went in. Well, I don't mind if it shrinks a bit. I've shrunk, you see, and it's my old one. Not talking about my blue one, which is lovely and fitted and lovely. This is an older one I've had 7 years, and it sort of hangs. It's a bit shapeless now, and it just needs. And I thought sticking it in the washing machine might, and then hang it up and let it dry over the Hissey. Eat more cake. Thanks. So feeling at liberty to wonder where we would about... I've read all that. Oh, no. Presently, yeah, we read all that, yes. And I said, yeah, if you wished... Yes, that's true. I read that. If you wish thoroughly to enjoy a driving tour, cultivate civility. It is very cheap commodity, and we always lay in a good stock of it before we set forth on our excursions. Verbum sat saperenti, which means go polish your head. I believe. That might not. Seeing the interest the farmer took in our proceedings, we endeavoured to take an interest in his farming and sympathised with him on the bad times. Whenever do you think they will get better? Inquired he, a trifle anxiously, we thought. Alas, that was a question we could not answer. Would that we could. The end of our conversation was an invitation indoors, if you would really care to see the old place. Did we not? It was just what we desired at that moment above all. I'm off to market directly, he said, but I'll tell the wife to show you round. It is a queer old house. We thanked him profusely for his courtesy, and he bade us good day with a pleasant smile as he drove away. Worthy farmer, may your shadow never grow less. I may rest. I think I'm going to leave it there because we're getting up to the end of the hour, and I don't want to. So they're going to go into the house at Crowhurst Place, and we'll find out what that's like in tomorrow's show. Oh, wait a minute, we don't have a show tomorrow. Oh, we'll have to wait till Monday. No. Don't take my coconuts. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. Lee Lawson says, I have a Harris tweed coat, and even the dry cleaners did not recommend cleaning it. It has natural oils. Oh, eat more cake. Yes, I read that. 111 Lithotheraphane. I used to use it quite often. Dry cleaning items. Always nervous about wedding dresses, giving them their light colours. Is that Titratherafane? Isn't that the stuff that gets rid of COVID? Turbo says, all my clothes are loose after I lost a stone a couple of years ago. Enjoy the baggy look, Richard. Oh, I keep getting told by the lovely Julia that my jackets are all too big and hang ridiculously on me. Caring for tweed. Hand wash in cool water, 30 degrees max. Gently squeeze the suds through the garment. Be cautious not to wring, rub or stretch whilst washing. Oh, there we are. I can shove it in the bath. Rinse the garment in fresh water. Do not lift the garment up, as wet fabric weighs more and will stretch. How the hell? Put another jumper on. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Raise the garment in fresh water. Raise it like this. Is this like an offering, isn't it? A sacrificial offering. To the god of Harris Tweed, I raise you from the bath, as is my need. Dry, clean, and feed my wonderful jacket, I plead. There you go. That's a good way to end the week, isn't it? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming along and joining me on this merry little dance that we do here at 4 o'clock. I'll be back again, listen with Vobes for my sins on Monday. Take it to Gabriel's friend in Glastonbury. He's a tailor and he could take it in for you. I don't know whether I want to have it. I just think it just needs a wash because it's old, and I think it'll hang better. But whether it'll dry better, I don't know. The stuff in the chemical name for the dry cleaning fluid, ironically, I am now working for a pharmaceutical company on their COVID vaccine. Oh, right, there we are. What we'll all be doing is walking into a dry cleaning operation, and then we'll be immune. Try steaming it, but what, with the kettle? Steaming it, perhaps. That sometimes tightened things up. We used to do that in the theatre. How would you steam it? Oh, what can I use a... I haven't got one now, but one of those wallpaper strippers. Not the heat gun, you know, the steam one. Linda Kane says, gently squeeze excess water out of material, lay the garment flat on a towel, reshaping whilst doing. Leave to dry naturally away from direct heat sources and out of sunlight. Rest on the Hissey when red hot. Ah, marvellous. Steam iron. Is that a steam iron? Is that like a steam train? Put a big grip on the back. Oh. Not listening to Sean James Cameron. He talketh of the nonsense thereof. Info from Harris Tweed site, says Linda Kane. I shall be giving that a whirl, I think. 30 degrees water, yes, max. Gently squeeze the suds through the garment. Be cautious not to wring or rub. Take a... Oh, yes. Steam from the kettle or iron. Gaffer tape. My God. No, an iron that holds water will gust the steam of hot steam. Yes, that's true. Happy birthday to Julia for the weekend. Julia's birthday on Sunday, by the way. Take a tuck in it. Safer. Damp towel with an iron. Oh, yes, the old damp towel with an iron might do it. Who knows? Or could just buy another jacket, of course. I think it was about 200 and something quid, if I remember rightly. That's a lot of money. There's a video in it, however. Yes, that's true. There we are. Change your image, Richard. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Andrew Norris. I'll just wear the baggiest clothes on the planet. Take care, one and all. Thanks very much for coming on. We will find out what Crowhurst Place on the inside looked like 120 years ago. Can't believe that a farmer, just an ordinary farmer, had a wonderful place like that. I mean, it beggars belief now these farmers, they look like a farmer had a little place like that. He's Farmer Piles. That's his country pile, that is. Anyway. HBD for Sunday. Oh, happy birthday. Yes, very good. Take care. Check your email. Re-OBS Days of Yore. Thank you very much. I will go and check that out right now. In the meantime, take care. Have a good weekend. Vogue show tonight. Something to look forward to, I hope. And I will chat to you then. But it's been great. Thanks for coming over to this channel. By the way, we've had quite a number of things. We had about 12. Sorry. Subs. We've now got 130 something, which is fantastic. Give me a thumbs up. Ta-ta. Take care. All the best. Arrivederci and goodbye. Goodbye.